These glasses know something about reality, and they want us to know it too. And perhaps if in life you've ever experienced anxiety, procrastination, or you are having a conversation with someone and you're trying to get your point along and you feel they are not getting you, and perhaps they feel the same and there is this tension and this conflict between you, then the physics of these glasses has something to reveal to you that's very important for this kind of situations. You see, I got these glasses when I went to watch the new Blade Runner, and when I watched it in 3D in the cinema, it was awesome. And I didn't know back then, right, that modern 3D glasses in these situations operate on principles of light polarization. It's some technical terminology, doesn't matter for now. But the thing is, I was still stuck in this old idea with the blue and red films that each lens has. But no, if you see these ones, they are both equally dark. Yet, if you ever worn glasses like this, you will realize you see a bit differently from each eye. And this becomes even more dramatic if you look at computer screens with these glasses. So I have two computer screens here, and if I close one eye, the content of one screen completely disappears, right? And if I close the other eye and open the other one, then the content of my external screen disappears and I see everything from my laptop screen. This is really amazing if you think about it. And this is very similar with, when we are in the world, right? Sometimes we live in our own reality. And our own reality is not everything that's out there. It's actually sometimes a very polarized, isolated version of reality. And we neglect everything else. It's like we neglect there is another screen. We don't see the information from the other screen. And to change that, sometimes we need the input of another person. Or we need a different experience ourselves, move in ways we don't expect. So we shift our perspective, so we see differently. But for this to happen, we have to be open to that, right? To realize there are windows in another screen, that the other screen is on and giving us information. But if someone says, yeah, there's another screen, and we are like, no, you're wrong, you're hallucinating, right? This is what happens in social media when we go in this keyboard warrior mode, and it's like, they're wrong, I'm right, all these things. This is what happens, and it's not a very healthy place. So the thing is, right, that if someone gives an opinion, they just have another polarization of reality in their mind, another version of it. And it's not about whether it's right or wrong at this point. It's about, they have a frame of reference, a screen from which they see, from which the things they say make sense to them. And we have a screen from which we see the things that we say make sense to us. And if we are able to open to other people's screens, even without agreeing to it, just saying that, oh, okay, it makes sense to them because X, Y, and Z, even though we may believe it's right or wrong, independent of that. And sometimes to realize that, we have to move ourselves, because here's what happens, right? If I put like this my glasses and I see only one screen, if I rotate my head like that, have you ever done that with 3D glasses? Let me know. If I rotate my head like that, then one screen disappears and the other appears. And suddenly I see the other screen I was ignoring before. But would you ever do this movement? Would you ever move your head like 90 degrees when you decide to watch something on your screen? Perhaps by accident. Sometimes we get new experience in life that inform us by accident, don't we? And sometimes, though, once we realize that this is what happens, we can do it intentionally. Or we can intentionally explore beyond the boundaries of what we perceive as appropriate or as, sensible in the current moment sometimes. It's valid to do when our intentions are good and when we are driven by wonder and curiosity. So, and when we do that, we get a more integrated view of the world, don't we? Right? We're able to see different opinions. Because here's the thing, what happens outside, what happens with other people, these conflicts we experience with others because of different views of the world, happens also inside us. And when it happens inside us, we don't typically experience it as conflict. Sometimes we do, but typically we experience the result of it. We may experience a feeling, an emotion, certain behaviors. So we may notice anxiety or insomnia or procrastination. And procrastination makes perfect sense for this, right? Because imagine there are like two little people inside our heads, and each one sees a different screen, a different reality with completely different windows of information, and both of them trying to come forward in a certain situation, but both disagreeing. This is very confusing and painful for our brains. So our brains will naturally lead us to avoid situations in life where this internal conflict appears. And, we go and do something else then. And then we have procrastination, voila. So, it's very useful to realize when we have these feelings, these experiences with ourselves or with others, that there's just another view there, or that there is, some structure of different views going on underneath that we can tune into, we can realize without any judgment, without any right or wrong, and have both our eyes open. So we see through both lenses. Because when we see through both lenses, and the different polarizations of light come from different lenses to our eyes, from different realities. That's how the 3D image happens in the movie theaters. And we see the world 3D in its whole wonder, in 3 dimensions. Because here's the thing, right? The light in the actual world is polarized in, in any direction. The polarization is like how it oscillates, left, right, up and down, randomly, it goes in all directions. But these filters we put of our perception, that's what these glasses are, filters of perception. Have you seen the movie They Live? It's from the 80s, I think. It's a great movie. I recommend. Have you seen it? Let me know in the comments. And when we put these filters of perception, we experience certain polarizations only. And when we are open to receive different polarizations, then we see the 3D version of things. And sometimes, in addition to looking with both eyes, we have to do something even more, even more provocative than that, right? Sometimes we have to go beyond looking the world through different filters and just assembling different filter views. I mean, it's good to do that, but at a certain point, and like if you like this, how do you find it so far? Let me know. Just press a like if you like it, and subscribe. It motivates me to do more of these videos. But sometimes we have to take these glasses, these filters we put in our perception, and just like completely like destroy them and remove the lenses, and just have a clear view of the world. Perhaps there are the frames that give us like certain framing. We can never avoid a certain framing, and certain framing is useful actually sometimes. And just see things as they really are. That's what this is about. See you next time. Bye.